Beginner level listening comprehension exercise. J'ai soif. This is a French listening comprehension exercise for beginners. If you would like to know more about the full course, just click on the link in the video description below. In this listening comprehension exercise, we'll hit the following grammar points: avoir envie de, aimer, ne pas aimer, le futur proche, partitive articles, negation, and possessive adjectives. You'll listen to the text twice, and then you'll listen to and answer 5 comprehension questions that I'll ask you. We'll go over the text together, followed by a text analysis of the entire reading. Allez, c'est parti. I'll go ahead with the first reading now. J'ai soif. J'ai envie de boire quelque chose, mais je ne sais pas quoi. J'aime bien boire de l'eau, mais j'ai envie d'autre chose aujourd'hui. Je vais regarder dans le frigo. Peut-être qu'on a du jus de pomme. J'adore le jus de pomme. Je n'aime pas boire du soda parce que c'est mauvais pour la santé. Il ne faut pas boire trop de jus non plus. Ma tante mange trop de sucre et elle a des problèmes de santé. Okay, that was the first reading. Now I'm going to ask you 5 questions, but I'm not going to show them to you this time. So you also have to listen very carefully. Numéro 1. Qu'est-ce que j'aime bien boire? Qu'est-ce que j'aime bien boire? Numéro 2. Qu'est-ce que je cherche dans le frigo? Qu'est-ce que je cherche dans le frigo? Numéro 3. Pourquoi est-ce que je n'aime pas boire du soda? Pourquoi est-ce que je n'aime pas boire du soda? Numéro 4. Pourquoi est-ce qu'il ne faut pas boire trop de jus? Pourquoi est-ce qu'il ne faut pas boire trop de jus? Numéro 5. Pourquoi est-ce que ma tante a des problèmes de santé? Pourquoi est-ce que ma tante a des problèmes de santé? Okay, are you ready for reading number 2? It's the same reading. Second time I'm going to read it. J'ai soif. J'ai envie de boire quelque chose, mais je ne sais pas quoi. J'aime bien boire de l'eau, mais j'ai envie d'autre chose aujourd'hui. Je vais regarder dans le frigo. Peut-être qu'on a du jus de pomme. J'adore le jus de pomme. Je n'aime pas boire du soda parce que c'est mauvais pour la santé. Il ne faut pas boire trop de jus non plus. Ma tante mange trop de sucre et elle a des problèmes de santé. Okay, now I'm going to ask you the same 5 questions, but this time I'm going to show them to you, and then we'll go over the answers together. Allez, c'est parti. Question numéro 1. Qu'est-ce que j'aime bien boire? Qu'est-ce que j'aime bien boire? Numéro 2. Qu'est-ce que je cherche dans le frigo? Question numéro 3. Pourquoi est-ce que je n'aime pas boire du soda? Pourquoi est-ce que je n'aime pas boire du soda? Numéro 4. Pourquoi est-ce qu'il ne faut pas boire trop de jus? Et numéro 5. Pourquoi est-ce que ma tante a des problèmes de santé? All right, now when you're ready, we'll go over les réponses together. So put me on pause if you need some time to answer those questions. Allez, c'est parti. Numéro 1, qu'est-ce que j'aime bien boire? J'aime bien boire de l'eau. Numéro 2, qu'est-ce que je cherche dans le frigo? Je cherche du jus de pomme dans le frigo. Numéro 3, pourquoi est-ce que je n'aime pas boire du soda? Le soda est mauvais pour la santé. Numéro 4, pourquoi est-ce qu'il ne faut pas boire trop de jus? Il y a beaucoup de sucre dans le jus. 5. Pourquoi est-ce que ma tante a des problèmes de santé? Ma tante mange trop de sucre. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the text, sentence by sentence, and I'll go over some of this grammar with you. J'ai envie de boire quelque chose, mais je ne sais pas quoi. So we start out with an avoir expression, avoir envie de. Avoir envie de means to want or to feel like. So in this case, I have to conjugate avoir to agree with je, and I say j'ai envie de plus an infinitive boire, means I feel like drinking. J'ai envie de boire quelque chose, something. Mais je ne sais pas quoi. And maybe you've seen je ne sais pas. It means I don't know. And then you throw the little word quoi after it, and all of a sudden it means I don't know what. Because the word quoi means what. J'aime bien boire de l'eau, mais j'ai envie d'autre chose aujourd'hui. Now you're going to see this j'aime bien a whole lot in French. J'aime means I like. J'aime bien means I rather like or I really like. Now, if you look up bien in the dictionary, that's not the definition that you're going to find. But this is what it means when we translate it to English. I rather like or I really like. J'aime bien boire de l'eau. So I rather like drinking water. You notice that de l'eau, I'm using the partitive before the word eau because I don't like to drink all of the water in the world. I like to drink some of it, which means I need the partitive. D'accord? Mais j'ai envie d'autre chose aujourd'hui. So here again, we have the expression avoir envie de, but this time it's not followed by an infinitive. This time it's just followed by another word. So you still have to keep the de in there. J'ai envie d'apostrophe because the word that follows it begins with a vowel. Autre means other, and chose means thing. I feel like other thing today. No, not really. How we would translate it in English is just, I feel like something else today. I don't feel like drinking water today. I feel like having something else. J'ai envie d'autre chose. Je vais regarder dans le frigo. Je vais, this is from the verb aller, which means to go. So je vais, all by itself, means I am going. And the really nice thing, once you know the verb aller, and you know a list of other infinitives in French, like regarder, for example, all you have to do is put the infinitive after the form of aller, and now all of a sudden it means I am going to look, because regarder means to look. That's the infinitive form of the verb. An infinitive in French, when you hear that word, it just means it's the non-conjugated form of the verb. And in English, infinitives will begin with the word to, T-O. So, to look, regarder. Je vais regarder dans le frigo, in the fridge. Peut-être qu'on a du jus de pomme. Peut-être. Now that means maybe or perhaps. Peut-être, we'll go back to why the QU apostrophe is there in just a minute. Peut-être qu'on a du jus de pomme. On a. Now what does that mean? That a, again, is the verb avoir. And the on that comes before it is a subject pronoun. Now you probably learned on in your conjugation list. We always say il, elle, on, followed by the singular verb. You always follow on with the singular verb. It is on the singular side of the conjugation chart. However, usually when people say on in spoken French, it means we. W-E, oui, not O-U-I, oui. Okay, so this means maybe we have. Peut-être qu'on a. Again, the partitive, du jus de pomme. Some jus de pomme. Some apple juice. D'accord? We have to use du in front of jus because jus is a masculine and singular noun. All right? So the DE and the LE form a contraction in French and they become DU. Now, I'll go back to why that QU apostrophe is after the peut-être. This, if it didn't have the apostrophe, it would be QUE. And you may have already noticed that this is a little three-letter word that pops up all over the place in French. And sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out why it's there because we don't really need it in English. In English, we just say, maybe we have. Well, in French, just remember this. When you want to start a sentence with peut-être, and you want to follow that peut-être with a subject or a subject pronoun, in this case it's on, you have to have QUE in between them. It's just a rule, and there's not really a simple way to translate that into English. Maybe that we have some apple juice, we just wouldn't say it like that, you see? So, but that's what it's doing there, so try to remember that is a rule. Je n'aime pas boire du soda parce que c'est mauvais pour la santé. So we looked at j'aime, which means I like, and now we're saying je n'aime pas. Anytime you want to make a verb negative in French, all you have to do is put ne pas around the verb. Now here, the ne becomes an apostrophe, again because it's followed by a vowel. Je n'aime pas boire. I do not like to drink. Je n'aime pas boire du soda. Again, we have the partitive. Parce que, because, c'est mauvais pour la santé. C'est, it is mauvais, bad, pour la santé. It's bad for what? La santé is health. Okay? C'est mauvais pour la santé. Il ne faut pas boire trop de jus non plus. All right, so this il ne faut pas. Let's just take out the ne pas for a moment and imagine it says il faut boire. This il faut followed by an infinitive like boire, for example, is very easy to use in French. Il faut means it is necessary and boire, in this case, boire means to drink. You can put any infinitive after il faut that you feel like putting, and it will mean it is necessary to do whatever that infinitive says. Okay, so if the ne pas were not there, it would say it is necessary to drink trop de jus, too much of juice. Okay? Trop de is an expression of quantity, and notice that it doesn't say trop du jus, du. It doesn't say that. No, it says de. Why? The reason why is because trop de is an expression of quantity. And anytime you have an expression of quantity, you never follow it with du or de la or des. It will always be followed either by de or D apostrophe if it's followed by a vowel. Now let's look at this whole sentence with the negation. Il ne faut pas boire trop de jus non plus. That non plus means either. And so what does it mean? It means one shouldn't drink too much juice either. And the reason why I didn't use the ne pas in the very beginning is because I wanted you to understand the il faut without the negation. Il faut, it is necessary. But then the way I would translate this in English is a little bit different. I would just say one must not or you shouldn't. You can translate it however you want to. Il ne faut pas. It is necessary not to drink too much juice. And the last sentence, ma tante mange trop de sucre et elle a des problèmes de santé. Ma tante. Ma. That means my, but it's only one of three ways to say my. This is a possessive adjective, and we're using ma, M-A, because tante is a feminine and singular noun. It doesn't matter whose aunt it is. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's Joe's aunt or Mary's aunt. It's still ma tante. Okay, that's how it works in French, very different to English. Ma tante mange trop de sucre. There again, we have our expression of quantity, trop de, right? D-E, trop de sucre. So my aunt eats too much sugar, or if it helps you to think too much of sugar. Et elle a des problèmes de santé. And she has, that's our verb avoir, she has, elle a des problèmes de santé. She has some problems of health. D'accord? That's not how we would say it in English, but I wanted to give you a literal translation just to help you out there a bit. Okay? Voilà, très bien. So I hope that this exercise has helped you, and I really hope that if you are a beginner and you've spent some time learning some French grammar and vocabulary, but you've had a little bit of trouble putting the words together to make sense, I hope that this exercise has helped you and that you've picked up a few tips that you can carry into your French adventure. All right, just a few more things. I want to show you something and talk to you about a few opportunities that you have. Here, look at this with me. If you want to follow my channel, you can subscribe, and every Thursday you can look forward to a new French lesson. You can also decide to become my patron on Patreon and help to support my project of putting out free French resources here on YouTube once a week, and even more frequently than that on my blog. You can connect with Love Learning Languages on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn, and French teachers, you can check out all of the resources I have available over at my TPT store. Be sure to sign up for my weekly newsletter so that you won't miss out on any of my new free French resources that come out every single week. Merci beaucoup et à très bientôt. Au revoir.